right now, let's turn to our last interview of the day. We got 15 minutes before the top of the new hour. Ed Van Buskirk, of course, has been joining us for a segment about the Ten Commandments, and he's back to talk about the first one. Ed, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Good morning, Bo. It's great to be here.
It is great to have you with us. So, of course, many things that the If You Love Me ministry that you do, and talking about how the commandments can be overlooked, but actually are the heart of wonderful things, blessings for us if they open up our minds and our hearts to following the life that the Lord has for us. So let's start with the first commandment. Why is it that so often this one, as it were, gets overlooked?
Well, I think as Catholics, we grow up going, well, yeah, I know Jesus is the guy, and I need to make sure that he stays first, and I don't worship other gods like Buddha or Allah or anything along the lines of what the Israelites worshipped back in their day with the moon god and the sun god and so forth. And so it's just kind of overlooked. I know for myself, for many, many, many years, I just kind of looked at the first commandment when I did an examination of conscience in preparation for the sacrament of reconciliation. I just kind of saw it a little bit like the free space on a bingo card. It's just like, that's so obvious. I'm not following other gods, but we need to take a second look there, because in our world today, we may not have the moon god and the sun god and the river god like the Israelites had, and have temples for them, but boy, do we have a lot of strange gods in our culture, and they really are interfering with our relationship with God and our relationship with others.
Yeah, so the idea, of course, from the text, you shall have no strange gods before me. So when it comes to strange gods, of course, it's not, we will hear strange and think weird or like horror story, but the idea, of course, is not familiar, right? So the idea is the strange gods are the foreign gods, or the ones outside of the normal community, like you said, sort of in the pagan world. But for us, the strange gods, of course, mean strange, the ones that estrange us from gods, but often they are, as it were, right in our face, and maybe even compared to the pagans of old, maybe too easy, as it were, to turn to rather than the Lord our God.
That's right, and they really become so important. We become fixated on them. You think of our entertainment in our culture today. Entertainment, we carry it around with us in our purse and in our pockets with the with the technology that just is so prevalent, so easy to access, and it's all just trying to draw our attention. Not all of it, and technology can be used well, but it has become so important for us that we can't seem to live without it. And that distracts us from just having connection with others that are around us and the relationship that God wants for us, but it becomes an interference with our worship time. We can get caught up, scrolling or the entertainment on our phone, or tuning into the 10,000 channels that seem to pervade our living rooms, and it causes us to stay up late at night. Then we get up late in the morning, and we're tired in the morning, and we think, well, it's maybe I'll skip my prayer time today. And you think of how the technology distracts us, and sports is its own whole realm of entertainment, and how much that distracts us. The strange gods that we have can really evade our attention from the perspective of realizing that they're strange gods. Our work can become a god. Our children even can become more important than God. Our pets, authority and power, and then of course the big one that everybody brings up when I give my talks is money, and at all how much of it is focused on money. And we're warned against these strange gods, and we need to make sure that we put things in the right order. All of the things that I've talked about of these strange gods, they're not necessarily bad. It's just when they become too important for us, they become distorted in how important they are. And we need to be mindful of this and think, how do these good things not become God, but rather how do they lead us to God? How do they help us to have that relationship with God?
Right. And when you think about like the fact that there's multiple of them, that they sort of dissipate not only our attention and focus, but our spiritual attention and focus, you start to realize that the first commandment is foundational for all the other commandments, and that if there's a way that if you can't make time for God at the very head and beginning of the life you're trying to lead, all the other commandments become that much more difficult.
They really do. You know, if let's say I have money as my God, it has just kind of become so important to me that it is really consuming me, and to serve that false god, that strange god, it encourages me to break all the other commandments. Oh, okay, so if I lie, I can get more money? Oh, well, then that should be the order of the day. If I steal, well, that should be the order of the day. It's going to help me get more money. Even though that is going to damage, in severe ways, damage the relationships that we desire more than money, we just don't realize it. And so when we steal, we damage the things that really we hold most precious. It's those relationships that we have. And when we steal, it isolates us. When we break these other commandments, it isolates us. And so God doesn't say, I need to be first because he's got has a need to be satisfied as being number one in people's lives. But he knows that when we put him first in our life, then all the other the commandments become easier to live, and we don't damage those relationships. He wants what's best for us. So when we live the commandments, we become closer to others in the relationship, and we experience the joy of friendship. When I steal, I damage my relationship with others, but that commandment calls us to generosity, and that builds the relationship. And when we put God first, when we make him first, these other commandments start to fall into place. This commandment is very foundational. It's the first commandment because it needs to be. And we need to put God first because he loves us the most and he knows what's best for us.
Well, with Catholics trying to live a good life, often what happens is what you call the victim of and. So we want God and a big house, God and nice cars, God and prestige or money or pleasure. And a lot of this is because what you call the buffet of life, right? We have so many options in the modern world that we go, yeah, we want God, but God among many other things. And again, this is something that we see repeated in the Old Testament. Oftentimes when the people of Israel failed, the Hebrew people failed, it was not necessarily that they totally shunned God, although that happened as well, but many times it was because they just tried to fit God into a pantheon of many gods. Do you see this as one of the central ways in which good Catholics trying to live down the path that they go astray this way, making God equal to these other strange gods?
I think that's probably very, very common. When you mentioned the buffet of life, when we go to an actual buffet, we fill up our plates with all these different things that are good and wonderful. But for myself, it's the dessert at the end of the buffet that is the most enjoyable for me. And by the time I eat all the other items on my plate that I've overfilled, I get to the dessert and I don't really enjoy it. And I think we do that with our relationship with God. We fill our lives with so many things that get in the way of God that when we do take time to spend with God, we don't really enjoy it. And so we don't do it. And what we need to do is we need to start at the dessert end of the buffet line. And we need to put God first in our lives so we can enjoy what is best.
Yes,
right up front.
Absolutely.
And enjoy it. And these other items, these other things are good, but we just need to not make them so important. One of the things that happens is that when we don't put God first, God becomes an obstacle. Our relationship with God becomes an obstacle. Okay, well, I got all these things to do on Sundays, and boy, I've got to spend time with God, and I've got an obligation, my Sunday obligation, and we start to regret that relationship with God instead of saying, I'm going to put God first in Sundays, in my Sundays, and every day, but specifically Sundays, put God first. And then I can enjoy all these other things that are important for Sundays, and make sure that we don't fill our Sundays with work and the things that we really shouldn't be doing, but spend time with the truly finer things of life. God first, our relationships with others, and then resting our soul, resting our mind, resting our body, so we can be prepared for the week coming up. But we got to put God first. This commandment has such a wonderful offering for us, but we overlook it. We kind of see it as that gimme on the golf course. You go the First Commandment, sure, I live that commandment, or like the bingo card, but we really need to focus on it. We need to really put it first and put God first in our lives so that everything else starts to have the right order and the right priorities.
So it's Ann Van Buskirk who's going to be joining us for multiple Thursdays coming up, speaking about the Ten Commandments. Ed, real quick, where can people find your work online?
Yeah, our website is godsrecipe.org, GODSRECIPE.org. And we've got a variety of different resources you can download for free, some videos to help learn the commandments, and I would encourage people to take a look and really rediscover these commandments and the beauty that they have to offer us.
Thank you very much, Ed Van Buskirk, coming on the Catholic Morning Show.